and we know that he winds up having an interesting period in late 1989. He's going to hold 3 different world titles on 3 different continents. He's got the IWGP title for New Japan and Asia. He's got the UWA title in Mexico for North America. And he's got Otto Wanz's CWA title in Germany and Austria for Europe. And I know that, again, most of our listeners are just going to be WWE fans or WCW fans, what have you. But the idea that you're the world champion on 3 different continents, is that the first time that's ever happened? If it's not, it's got to be one of the most rare categories for a wrestler to fall in, right?
I don't know another person that did that. And I know there's people that held all those different titles. I think you can kind of count backwards and figure out who held Otto's title, then come this way and, who held the Mexican title and who held
junior heavyweights, maybe is what I'm thinking. Like, remember Ultimo Dragon and those guys, they'd come out with 9 or 10 belts. So maybe that was be possible, but I'm saying without that sort of presentation amongst
that's right. And the reason is because the top guys draw money. No offense to Ultimo. I love Ultimo. I saw Ultimo, by the way. What a wonderful, I love him. Good guy. And he drew money, by the way. He drew money. Most of the juniors did not draw money. Ultimo drew money. But the big guys, the ones that draw the big money. And so you don't want your title on a guy that he's got a title from a different territory because you don't know where his loyalty is. You want to own that guy. And, that's one of the reasons, when you'd go to Vince, he would change your name so that you could not use the name Big Van Vader or John Hawk. That way he would own your name. He wouldn't let you be working for another company and also hold a title there. That just didn't happen with your big guys. Your big guys who could draw money. And Leon drew money. So this is absolutely unprecedented that Leon controlled the world. This was after Brody. Brody passed away. And you had Stan still, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But you didn't have that big monster out there. Abdullah was still around, but, not, a little bit long in the tooth. Yeah. Vader was the man all over the freaking world. He was the guy. I mean, you talk about the biggest what ifs. My God, man, when Hulkamania starts dying a little bit, if it's fair to say that, say WrestleMania 5 or 6, Leon's the guy that could have stepped in there.
In his early years of the gimmick, of course, Vader would switch back and forth between a full mask and then no mask. And then he settled on the pretty famous trademarked Vader sort of half mask. Of all the different iterations, if you're watching with us on YouTube, this WCW version of the mask where there's just a lot of cutouts and it's almost like, I hate to use the analogy, it's like a woman's bikini on his head here. That's the version that I sort of.
I don't doubt has happened.
Well, I mean, I think we've all done that. It's too early for a Blue Chew commercial, but serious business. Is this the version of Vader that is paramount in your mind, or is there another version that you think of first?
No, I love that version right there. Guys, Ron Simmons wore a mask also, with Doom, and it looked just like a badass like Leon did. But that mask set him apart. That mask was so different that I thought that's the Leon that I remember. That's the badass right there.
When you were coming up on the Texas indie scene and then working internationally, would Vader have been on your dream opponent list at the time?
100%. Oh my God, yeah. I used to watch him and thought, man, that's what I'd like to wrestle. I always had admiration for Stan, had admiration for Brody. I love the big guys that brawled. Vader was certainly one of those guys. And, we had, again, commonality. Stan and I had a commonality of football and wrestling and trained by the same type of people. Same with Leon. So there's that commonality there. You thought, okay, I came up kind of the same way. There's a potential that I could head the same direction as Leon. Maybe not be as big, but there's a potential that I could be this same direction, same trajectory. I'd love to end up in the ring with Leon.
The consensus amongst wrestling fans for a long time has been that Vader might have been the greatest super heavyweight of all time.
Yep.
And there's a short list that we always hear associated with his name, guys like Bam Bam Bigelow. Where does Vader rank for you as a fan and then as someone who was in the ring with him?
Who would you rank in the top 4? I'll ask you first.
Well, Bam Bam is on my list too, but certainly Vader. And I always struggle with, do we count a guy like Big Show or not? Because he's a giant, but not necessarily a super heavy.
My opinion is we count Big Show in the giant category. So we're going to be splitting hairs here, but I put Big Show in the giant category.
Well, I think my first two are certainly Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow, and after that, I think it gets a little murky. You know, there's lots of great talent that's been out there. I mean, I think you could argue, but I am curious. You've been in the ring with these guys,
yeah.
So a lot of the guys we're going to name, you're going to bring a unique perspective that a fan wouldn't. Do you think Vader and Bam Bam belong on the list? And if so, who else?
I think Vader belongs on the list
by
himself.
Okay. He's the number one.
And no offense to Bam Bam. Bam Bam was great, but Bam Bam did not look, and I don't want to say anything bad about Bam Bam. He was a terrific big man. And we're talking about, and remember now, when we're talking about either great or greater. Right. We're not talking about like, does one guy suck and one guy good? No, they were great or greater. I'm arguing greater for Vader. He inspired fear in people when he came out. And I don't think Bam Bam did that. I mean, Bam Bam was a great worker and he was a great big man. But when Vader came out, man, the mood changed. I remember one time I was sitting in an arena and I was watching the show from the arena, and this match was okay. And all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley came out and Brock came out right behind him. They got into a brawl and everything changed in the arena. And I thought, man, that's what Dez used to talk about. That's what Johnny Valentine used to talk about. You know, I can't convince you that the rest of it's real, but I can convince you I'm real.
Right.
And the old adage, Vader was that way. When Vader came out, things changed. And there's no other big man that was like that. I mean, you can mention guys who weren't really, I don't know, the same different type of big man. Guys like Undertaker and Kane, who obviously were incredible.
I put them in a different category.
Put them in a different category. You know, I just, I think maybe splitting hairs here, but that's the way I see it.
Well, I mean, Yokozuna would fall on the list.
Yes, 100%. Yokozuna would fall on the list, and I would put him in a category with Leon. I still put Leon as number one.
Me too. Would Big Boss Man be on that list?
No, I don't think so. In my opinion, not because Boss Man was a great worker and as good a worker as Leon. Boss Man was great. I just don't put him in that big man category. Even though he was, I don't know. Boss Man didn't seem like Vader. Seemed like the mastodon. Yes. Vader seemed like this beast. Boss Man just seemed like a great big worker, and Boss Man was a terrific worker. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I think the category of this beast, Boss Man doesn't fit in.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to use the beast analogy, I probably also wouldn't include Dusty Rhodes. But if you're just talking about entertaining, the best big man of all time, even though people don't think of Dusty as a big man, at one point he was a big man, and he was still drawing money and still on top. So I love to hear that you're unanimous with me that Vader is the number one.
Yep.
And I think some of that is just because of the style. I mean, he was brutal. He was stiff. It was believable, right?
He was a man. And when he came at you, brother, it was like he hit me a couple of times. I just saw a white light. I mean, literally hit me that hard in the side of the head with that big finger. Wham, wham. And I'm like, oh, my God, brother, you're killing me. It was awesome. He didn't mind it back the same way. People talk about Vader being a bully. You can say whatever you want about him. Vader liked it back the same way. He didn't care how hard you hit him. He had bitch sometimes, but old guys like to bitch more than they love the art of bitching as much as they really were bitching. But Vader was, man, that guy, when he came at you, it was, whoo, buddy, it was something.
SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, I'm Justin Gruffin from Knoxville, Tennessee. What got me to Save with Conrad was the 83 Weeks podcast. I really wasn't thinking about getting rid of any debt. I just wanted to cash out some equity in the house to do remodeling. But I did both, so that was pretty awesome. Worked out great. Redid the foyer, built pantry space, and there was like little odds and ends when I first bought the house that I wanted to take care of, and we were able to take care of it. So, paid off 2 cars and some credit card debt. So probably all in all, get $30,000 in that. And then I got some $30,000 more equity out of the house, and still plenty of equity left over. So payment's good. I lowered my interest rate. I'm in a much better spot than I was. Super easy. Everybody was great. Very, very awesome people. Francis and Steve were great to work with. They're awesome. Made it for a very easy, seamless experience. I'd probably say all in all, probably $1,000 a month at least. I lowered my interest rate, especially the way the interest rates are right now, which is, that's amazing. I'm Justin Bruckman from Knoxville, Tennessee. I saved over $1,000 with SaveWithConrad.com, and I did a lot of renovations with that money as well.
NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com.